Hello and welcome back to the Flying Kayak YouTube channel. It's been a long time since I dropped a new video, but I decided to get back at it and start producing flight simulator videos again. And what a time to start it is. Just 3 days ago, Thranda, a design studio producing high-quality bushplane add-ons for X-Plane 11 and in the near future for X-Plane 12, released their Cessna 208 Caravan and 208B Grand Caravan add-on for X-Plane 11, and that's the airplane you're seeing on the screen right now. And I thought, what better way to restart YouTube than with a review of this amazing little bird. In this video, I'm going to talk about the Caravan and Grand Caravan in real life. I'm going to talk about the simulated versions by Thranda. I'm going to talk about the special things that Thranda does with their dynamic generation series, both outside the airplane and inside the airplane, and then we're going to go for a quick test flight around today's airport, which is Allen Burroughs Island. I'm just going to give you a quick look around. There you go. That's Allen Burroughs Island in Washington State. This is an airport that's created by Prop Strike Studios, a design studio that creates some wonderful bush flying scenery and just the perfect place for a short test hop with the Grand Caravan. Without further ado, let's start by taking a look at this magnificent bird. The Cessna Caravan and Grand Caravan in the real world are single-engine turboprop utility airplanes. That means that they're intended to haul people and cargo into places most other planes cannot get in or out of. You can see this already when you look at the design. The Caravan and Grand Caravan both are very rugged airplanes, and they're both very short field, capable with their large box wings providing a lot of lift even at low speeds, and their powerful turboprop engines providing them with great climb rates. The 208 and 208B differ more or less only in size. The version you're seeing in front of you right now is the shorter 208 Caravan, because I just think it's a bit nicer, smaller, and kind of the oddity because it's a little rarer than the 208B Grand Caravan. It does, of course, have a lighter payload capacity and a lower passenger capacity. Talking about payload, that's where this aircraft excels in the real world. I don't want to read the Wikipedia stats for you. You guys can check those on your own. You don't need me reading those to you. I think that's kind of boring. But talking about the Grand Caravan, I've seen these flying in very remote places. I've seen these flying in Africa. I've seen these flying in remote places in the United States. And they also fly in Alaska and Canada, and I know that they fly in South America and in Asia. So these are basically all around the world in the remote places. That's where you're going to find the Caravans. And they provide a vast amount of roles, all the way from healthcare and emergency evacuation flights, like with the Royal Flying Doctor Service in Australia, to sightseeing flights or passenger airline flights like Mokulele Airlines in Hawaii. And that's really the versatility and the broad spectrum you can use this sort of airplane for, and that's why I think it's one of the most interesting airplanes in the real world, and definitely a very, very interesting airplane for X-Plane 11. Now, taking a look at the simulated version, Thranda simulates, as I already mentioned, both the 208, which is slightly shorter, and the 208B, and their respective cargo versions. So the Cargo Master and Super Cargo Master by Cessna. Both of these versions are at the moment simulated in only the land version and without a Garmin G1000 glass cockpit. However, we know that Thranda usually updates their products a few months after initial release with a float version, and this airplane also has a few float elements already that are hidden in different configuration options, which makes this very interesting, and I'm pretty sure we'll see a float version of this airplane coming in the future. And of course, it also usually means that you get an update with the 208 and 208B G1000 versions, which would be the more modern versions. They are available in the real world, of course, with a G1000 and a G1000NXi at the moment. Okay, looking at the outside of the airplane simulated by Thranda here, I mean, you'll notice very quickly that this is an immaculately simulated airplane. It looks exactly like a Caravan would. I really like the way the colors look on this airplane. It's just It's beautiful. I like the way that the airplane's outer hull is simulated. You can see a little grime here on the windows and stuff. So basically, this airplane is everything you'd want from an exterior simulation. But this is the Dynamic Generation series by Thranda, and that means that there is one special element to the airplane. And I'm gonna just quickly go through the Thranda menu here. Of course, you can select all the covers and all the tie downs on and off depending on what you want. You can open all the doors and close them, and you can of course also open and close the doors individually from the menu or by clicking on click spots in the cockpit. But one of the things that really stands out here, and of course you can also turn on and off the legendary cargo pod that we all know the Grand Caravan for, and the ground power unit that we also can use with this airplane. But the thing that Thranda does that no other developer I know of does is the dynamic livery generation series. You can change the livery on the fly. You can just change the way your airplane looks from the outside and the inside, and it's amazing. It's unique. I've never seen anything like it. And just to give you a short example here without having to reload the entire livery thing, I'm just going to add some dirt to the exterior livery. Are you seeing that? The airplane's dirtying up. And now it's maximum dirty, and with one click, I can switch between dirty and clean. That's insane. Like, actually editing liveries like that on the fly is something that I don't think anybody else in the flight sim world does at the moment. At least nobody I know of does this sort of detail, this sort of cool thing. And taking a look at the interior, of course, as usual, the interior is simulated perfectly. It's got a lot of really, really cool features. Like, for example, you can just really change out your chairs the way you want them to be. You can make them disappear, make them reappear, you can flip them around, and you can even move the chairs and scooch them around the way you would in a real Caravan. Now, I've heard that real Caravans actually have the capability to kind of remove the seats within minutes. You can switch between one seat, two seat, and of course, if I hit the right click spot somewhere around here, you can also switch between one seat, two seat, and no seat. Anyways, okay, we want our seats back to normal. There you go, there's the click spot for the seats. Perfect. Now you can switch with all those seats and you can change that. And if I were to say remove the front seat, let me just quickly find the quick spot again. There you go. And now I go to the weight and balance menu and I decide to add weight in that front seat area. There behind the co-pilot, adding weight, adding weight, adding weight. It's going to add crates. So it's not going to add passengers, unlike if we add weight into the chair, it's going to add a crate, which is just a level of attention to detail that I personally believe is second to none for Thranda airplanes. But that's not it. You can actually edit your panel. Now, you can see that I have this panel set up here, and that's my preferred panel. That's my personal panel setup, and I'm going to walk you through that and why I have it that way in a second. But you can just change the panel preset here. So let's go to panel preset 2. You can see we have no GPS now. We have our 6-pack. We have our engine instruments up here, which is a bit different. And then we can go to panel preset 1. And you'll see that we have 2 GPSs. We have the Aspen EFD 1000 glass cockpit. Everything's changed a bit. We have an angle of attack indicator. And let's just change back to panel preset 3. Now we've got our GTN 750 again. We've got our engine instruments on the side instead of on top. Again, the nav instrument layout's changed a bit, you know. That's really cool. So back to panel preset 5, or the one that I created for myself. And there you are. So you can really switch up everything the way you want it, the way you need it. I'm just going to walk you through my panel here a bit. So you've got your classic center console with the traditional 6-pack. You've got your lighting instruments, your anti-ice instruments. You've got your heating and lighting instruments for the interior lighting down here, and then your heating stuff over there. What I decided to do was I decided to put the GTN 750 in here because I've got the Reality XP GTN 750, which, by the way, is a great tool to use for any sort of flying in X-Plane 11. And then you've kind of got the weather radar right below it, so I want all my displays in one place. Got a few more nav instruments down here as backups. Then, of course, you've got your main HSI over here. And then I had the engine instruments aligned in 2 rows here instead of the traditional kind of Caravan row across the top. I did that for the reason that in most airplanes that I fly in the sim, the engine instruments are well, more or less aligned in these two lines or rows here, and I just thought that that would be the optimum way to kind of set that up for ease of transitioning between different models. And then over here you've got your transponder, your autopilot, and all that stuff. And then of course the co-pilot's set of instruments. And down here in the central console you've kind of got your power levers, those obviously all animated and working wonderfully. I mean, yeah, I don't think I have to explain those in too much detail. And you've got the flap lever and so on and so forth in your trims. Okay, so that's the Caravan's panel layout the way I have it, for the reason that I just like these big old conventional instruments. They're better to look at, I think, than the Aspen electronic flight display, because if you look at the Aspen, it's got tiny numbers and you're going to have to really zoom in, which takes away that outside view that I kind of need to fly. But I still want the convenience of a modern Garmin GTN 750 as my touch navigator. Now, I'm going to set the airplane up for flight. I'm going to check out everything in the back, check that we've got everything loaded up. And I don't want you guys to have to watch 30-minute videos, so I'm going to kind of pause it here, and I'll come back to you with a part 2, flying the Caravan from Allen Burroughs to Port Angeles, because that's going to be our short flight for the day. We're going to just check and do a short hop from Port Angeles to, or from Allen Burroughs Island to Port Angeles, to check out the airplane and how the airplane actually performs in the air. Thanks for watching and have a great day. Safe travels, blue skies, and many happy landings to you.